Hello, boys and girls, men and women of all ages, shapes, and sizes. My name is Owen Adams, also known as British Gamer, blah, 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 blah. This isn't a live stream. I just kind of wanted to talk about something that I find a little gross. And as you guys know, I own a Switch. I've been a big proponent of the Switch, a very big fan of it. And particularly been excited for Dark Souls Remastered, which came out yesterday. I did a little bit of a live stream on it. Go check it out. It's good. Go watch it. It's fun. I did about 2 hours. I was terrible trying to get used to the little controllers and things. But something happened when I started the game. And I think it's kind of gross. I just want to talk about it a little bit. I talked about this a little bit in my streams, but I just want to pull this up. So, I am not a subscriber to the Nintendo Switch online service. The main reason being, I just think I've made my feelings known about this, but I think it's a bad service. I think it isn't a good service. I don't think it offers its money worth. And every time you see a review of it, the reviews tend to take the position that, well, it sucks, but this, and this are held back if you don't get it. And given that the Switch has been out, a year at this point, it only feels like they're taking things away. I know we all knew it was coming, blah, blah, blah. I don't love it. I don't like the Switch online service, and I decided I have PlayStation Plus, I have games with gold, I'm not going to get another one. And that's a shame, because it means I'm not going to get any online Switch games. And considering the Switch it has been probably my favorite console I've ever bought up to this point, my happiest time with a console overall. The only reason I use my PS4 as much is for the live streaming. And that's sad. But I figured, what the hell? Dark Souls, I'll go without. It's okay. It is a shame that the Dark Souls version has no online messages or anything. It's not just summoning you can't do. You don't even get any soapstone messages if you don't buy the online service, which I don't think PS4 does that, but I could be wrong. We'll see. I'm not getting the facts, but something happens that actually kind of annoys me. There's actually a really gross, kind of high-pressure push for the online service when you play this game. So if you've ever played Dark Souls Remastered on PS3 or Xbox, or if you ever played Dark Souls on almost any other platform, any From Software Souls game, normally when you start a game, you get a little message that says, do you want to start an online game or do you want to start an offline game? Online game, you might require you to have Xbox Live Gold or PlayStation Plus or whatever. But that's always there, front and center. Do you want to start an online game or an offline game? Watch what happens when I start Dark Souls Remastered on the Switch with no online service account. Last time the game, blah, 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 whatever, yeah, sure. Checking internet communication status. A paid membership to Nintendo Switch Online is required. That's all it says. Now, I think this is actually a system-level message. I think this might even be a mistake. I think every time you try and access Nintendo's online service, you now get this message that says, hey, if you want to do what you're trying to do right now, you need Nintendo's paid online service. And it doesn't tell you anything else. It doesn't clarify. It doesn't say to play online. It says a paid membership to Nintendo Switch's online service is required. And you can go to the Nintendo eShop button down here and go buy it, which I'm not going to do because I don't own it. Or you can press cancel. And that's not really clear what that means. Now, I get it. Anybody who does the research, people can go and Google after this if they want and see and go, okay, there is a single-player game. But it doesn't actually let you choose first. It specifically takes you to the online first and then tells you it is required. It's only when you press cancel that it actually rolls through to offline mode, which is full and playable. Here we go. I mean, it is the offline mode. It is Dark Souls in full, aside from the online features. Now, if you go to the back of the box, I'll grab this here. It says players 1 TV, 1, all this stuff, but it doesn't actually say specifically anything about there is a single player. Online play requires a paid membership to Nintendo Switch Online. The software does not support blah, 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 blah. Okay, fair enough. Doesn't actually specify at all anywhere in here that if you press cancel at that online message, you will go straight to the single player mode. That is not specified in here. And so what we have here is one of the first games, one of the first third-party games, I should say, after the launch of the Nintendo Switch's Online, to require the online service for online play, heavily implying that you need the online service to play it at all. Now, I get not everybody's going to fall for this. I get not everybody's going to, go in expecting there to be a single player, not knowing. A lot of people are going to Google. A lot of people are going to just check. But there are going to be a lot of people, too, who are on the fence about Nintendo's online service, who see that message and take from this that they need the Nintendo Switch online service to play this game at all. And they're going to click that button and go straight through, and they're going to buy it. Unnecessarily. Now, I get it, Dark Souls without online is lame. I'm sad that I'm not going to be playing it, but online. But it's the reality. That message is very unclear, and I'm hoping this is a mistake. I'm genuinely hoping this is an error of judgment in that Nintendo's just set up their online service so that if you ever try and make a call to online, it throws up that same error message. And so what we're actually seeing here is a result of Dark Souls being structured in such a way that it makes the call first and then checks that. But I would argue that is confusing and potentially misleading, and it's going to pressure people to buy the online service for a game that kind of doesn't require it. I mean, I know there's some debate over whether Dark Souls without online is really Dark Souls, but I bought this on the understanding that I'd be playing single player. And, the game sort of appears that isn't really an option. And I think Nintendo needs to fix that. I know it's not a big deal. I know it's not the end of the world, and I know there'll be more people who look into it and properly check it out first. But right now, we have a situation where this is a game you can play 100% in single player, and the first thing you see when you start the game up, that boulder always gets me, the first thing you see when you start the game up is a message that heavily implies that isn't the case. So, I just wanted to talk about that because, obviously, on my streams and stuff, I have covered extensively Nintendo Switch's online service and why I think it's terrible. And this, I think, is another example, another very clear example, of Nintendo implementing something that they are not really doing the due diligence on and testing and making sure that everything's working right. Making sure that everything's clear and clean and thoughtfully designed. It's another example, in my mind, of why the online service is not really up to Nintendo's promises and not really their forte, and a bad decision for them. So I don't like the online service. I do like Dark Souls. Otherwise, this is a really good port. If you like Dark Souls, it's good. If you were here wondering about whether you need online for Dark Souls, you don't. You don't need the Nintendo Switch Online to play it. I would argue the full Dark Souls experience is best had online, so if you only have a Switch and you have online, great, go for it. But if you aren't getting the Switch Online service, probably better to get another version. But yeah, they need to change that message. They need to change that message. At the moment, it's just as soon as you make an online call, it's making that. And I don't know whether it's Nintendo responsible for putting that system-level message in, or it's Dark Souls responsible for trying to make that online call immediately without clearing it. But what we have right now is a system where a new online service has just launched, and people are already a bit concerned about it. There's a little bit of confusion about what games need it and what don't. And this is the only version of Dark Souls I have ever seen that doesn't ask you first if you are planning on playing an online game or an offline game. I think even the PS4 version does. So right off the bat, it's confusing. It's the only Dark Souls version that puts you in this conundrum, and I think this must be a consequence of them trying to add Dark Souls online on later, because when the developers would have been testing this, because the online service is only just launched, when the developers would have been testing this, the online option would not have been there. Anyway, that was just a quick 10 minutes to say, this is something I think Nintendo really needs to fix, because right now it has quite a misleading element, I think. And, whenever we talk about issues like this, there's always people who say, well, people should do the research. Nobody's going to fall for that. We all know. But there are people who will make that mistake. There are absolutely... My gut reaction when I saw it was, oh wow, is there actually no single player? You know? And alright, I did the sensible thing, I immediately clicked cancel. But all it takes is for one person to be just on the fence about online and go, alright, well I guess I'll buy online. Or go, okay, well rather than clicking cancel, I'll just home button and quit the app. And you've ended up in a position where someone's just bought something they didn't want unnecessarily because of a poorly phrased message. So, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you for watching, and I don't know, let me know what you think. Do you think this is misleading, or do you think it's okay and I'm making a deal out of nothing? Thanks for watching, guys. Bye!